Hey everyone, welcome to True Crime Fanatics. In our world today, where everything is connected by the internet, there are dark corners, places where stories aren't just told, but they seem to come alive. And sometimes those stories can get so twisted they break free from your computer screen and step into our real lives. Tonight, we are looking at a story that's truly scary. It shows us how strong a made up idea can be and how darkness from the internet can creep into young minds. This is the real upsetting truth behind the Slender Man stabbing. Our story starts in a normal, peaceful town, Waukesha, Wisconsin. Here, two young girls, just starting to grow up, become close friends because of a secret they shared. Their names were Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier. Both were only 12 years old. Like many kids, they loved exploring the huge world of the internet. They found a part of it called creepypasta. Think of it like a modern day goose story session, but all the tales are written down, copied, and spread like a fast moving whisper. But who is this Slender Man? He wasn't some old monster from ancient books. He was born much more recently in June 2009 on an internet forum called Something Awful. A user named Eric Knudsen, going by the name Victor Search, created him. It was for a contest, a challenge to make ordinary photos look paranormal. Knudsen added a tall, faceless figure in a suit to old black and white pictures of children. He even wrote a few scary lines, like eyewitness accounts, and just like that, a new legend was born. Other people online loved it. They added their own stories, their own drawings, making him stronger, giving him his long, wiggly arms and a thirst for children. This is how a simple online idea grew into a global urban legend, passed around from screen to screen. And in this spooky online collection, they found him, the scary, mysterious figure known as the Slender Man. He was faceless, super tall, wearing a plain black suit, and sometimes had weird long arm-like things coming out of his back. For most people, he was just a fun, scary character, something that would give you a shiver, then disappear when you close your web browser. But for Morgan and Anissa, something changed. The line between what was real and what was just on the screen started to blur. In a very dangerous way, their interest turned into a deep, strong belief. They thought the Slender Man wasn't just a story, but a powerful old being. They truly believed he lived in a hidden mansion deep in the dark forest of the northern Wisconsin. And through some twisted thinking caused by fear and imagination, they came to believe he could talk to them, especially Morgan, who said she could hear his voice, his commands right in her head. This wasn't just a shared hobby, it was a shared delusion, a terrifying belief that only way to protect themselves and their families and offer him a sacrifice. This dark fantasy weighed heavily on their young minds, and a terrible plan began to form. Her chosen victim, a friend they both knew well, an innocent girl named Payton Leutner, also just 12 years old. She was simply a friend invited to a birthday sleepover on May 30th, 2014. A night that was supposed to be full of happy giggles, but without Payton knowing, it was planned to be her last. The next morning, pretending to play a fun game, Morgan and Anissa led Peyton deep into the thick woods of David's Park in Waukesha. They told her they were playing hide and seek. They told her to lie down and cover herself with sticks and leaves to hide better. A perfect heartbreaking trick. And then something unthinkable happened. In a cold act driven by a monster made of computer pixels and fear, one of them moved. The knife, a kitchen knife, was pushed into Payton's body 19 times, 19 deep, terrible wounds. They thought they had finished their awful task. They believed Payton Leutner was dead, and they left her there all alone in the quiet forest to start their walk to the made-up Slender Mansion. But the darkness didn't win. Against all odds, Payton Leutner, bleeding heavily with injuries that should have killed her, found a spark of life inside her. A raw, desperate will to survive. She crawled slowly, painfully. She pulled herself through the dirt and leaves until she reached to a nearby bike path. A person riding their bike saw her and quickly called her for help. Payton was rushed to emergency surgery. Her life, barely hanging on, was saved. Hours later, far from where it happened, police found Morgan and Anissa. They were walking calmly, almost peacefully, on a country road. Their clothes, their whole appearance showed the terrible secret they carried. And when they were questioned, their confessions were chilling. Not sorry, not regretful, but a calm, clear explanation. They did it for Slender Man. The legal system faced a huge challenge. How do you punish children for a crime that came from such a deep fake belief? Many mental health tests were done, showing a sad picture of young minds wrapped by illness and shared fantasy. Morgan Geyser was diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia, a serious mental illness that made her see and hear things that weren't real. Anissa Weier, on the other hand, was caught in a scary shared delusion. She believed what Morgan believed, swept into Morgan's dark world, unable to tell the difference between the monster in the story and the real person they heard. The decisions were made. Not guilty because of mental illness. Both girls were sent to mental hospitals, not regular prisons. Their childhoods were lost, their futures changed forever by the shadow of Slender Man. Years have passed since that awful day. Anissa Weier has since been allowed to leave the mental hospital, carefully living her life in a world she once tried to escape from a monster. Morgan Geyser too is on her way to being allowed out. But what about Payton Leutner, the girl who fought her way back from the edge? Her story is one of amazing strength, survival, and quiet victory. She has healed both her body and her mind, and she has bravely chosen to speak out, to share her journey, becoming a strong voice for mental health awareness and using the internet safely. The Slender Man case remains a stark, unsettling mirror. It shows us how fragile the human mind can be and the uncontrolled power of the internet today. It makes us look closer to understand the hidden influences that shape what we believe is real, and it leaves us with a lasting, terrifying question. In the vast, endless world of the internet, what other monsters are waiting for someone to believe them into existence?